Good afternoon and welcome to Midday News with Montana. I'm your host, Montana Free, and this is all brought to you by Montana Free TV. You can check us out at our website, montanafreetv.com, and have a lot of fun over there. Check out what we're doing. I got to do some more updates to it. And if you are one of those people that was disheveled by Discord, there is a group chat over there that you can go have a lot of fun in, if you're so inclined. But we got a lot of news to talk about today. So why don't we just get right to it? What do you say? By the way, Two Wild Rose, good to see you out there. I see we have 4 other lurkers that are out and about. Thanks, guys, for sticking around. Make sure to hit that red pill. Get it. Yep. It's like right over there. Right. Yeah. You know where it is. Just click that, would you? I'd appreciate it. Anyway, let's get right into the news. That's not the news. Why is that not working? That's cute. That's cute. Let's try that one. There we go. And that means I'm going to have to fix this one. Yep. Okay. Here we go. Florida man dies from a rare brain-eating infection. Remember all those people that tell you to use a neti pot and don't tell you how? Here's one poor feller that didn't know. Brain-eating infection after rinsing nose with tap water. Yeah, that's always good. Let's just zoom right in on this. A man in Charlotte County, Florida, has died after contracting a brain-eating infection from tap water. Makes you feel good about your tap water, huh? 100% Fed Up reports the man, who has not been named, used tap water for a sinus rinse, which caused him to become infected with a rare amoeba called, wow, that's going to be fun, Naegleria fowleri? Neogleria fori? Or fowleri? I don't know. Anyway, that can cause a brain infection called amoebic meningitis. Basically, the damn thing eats your brain. I mean, come on. Your sound is bouncing back and forth between left and right headset. Well, that's a problem. Why is it doing that? Well, I got a quick solution for that. Watch this. Hold on. We're going to go down here. We're going to go right there. And we are going to set that to there. There, is that any better? Hopefully it's a little better. You'll have to let me know. Have to let me know if that's any smoother or not. It's Florida. That's nothing new. Yeah, exactly. In a statement from the Department of Health, Charlotte, they said they are continuing to investigate how this infection occurred. Well, that's kind of obvious, don't you think? Just my opinion. That's weird. Is the sound still bouncing back and forth there, Two Wild Rose? I hope not. I'll have to let me know if it sounds any better. Anyway, let's see here. I mean, how do you think it happened? The dude stuck a neti pot in his nose with tap water in it. And Lord knows they can't figure out how to make tap water safe. I don't give a shit what they say. My son can only take a 4-minute shower because there's so many chemicals that he breaks out in hives if he goes any longer than that. Can't take a bath at all. No baths. You can take a 5-minute shower. The first symptom of this disease is a headache. Yeah, sure, what Raid said. Headache, vomiting, and nausea. As the disease progresses, the infected individual may suffer from cognitive issues and a stiff neck. And he could be suffering from his brain getting eaten by an amoeba. I'm just saying. The infection may also experience seizures. Yeah. Yeah. That's, yeah. Shocking. Something that eats your brain would cause seizures. Oh, and this asshole. This dick piano playing fuckhead. I'd like to. You know what? We just need to. How about we practice this? How about the U.S. just minds its own fucking business? It's actually a lot of our fault that this whole thing is even happening. But Zelensky states that the U.S. will have to send sons and daughters to war. Fuck you. Fuck you. Boots on the ground. Yeah, okay. All right. If Ukraine, due to its various opinions and weakening of assistance, loses, Russia is going to enter Baltic states, NATO member states, and then the U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters. Exactly the same way as we are sending our sons and daughters to war. Not exactly the same way, but sure. And they will have to fight because it's NATO. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about NATO because, hey, Russia said, yeah, we'll break up the Soviet Union. Just, if you could just do us a favor, our neighboring states, let's keep them out of NATO. We don't want them part of NATO. And what did the U.S. do? We ran around and told everybody they should join NATO, and we'll protect them if, Russia gets angry. Well, look where the fuck we are now. Anyway, Ukrainian leaders like Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Andrea Melnik have evacuated their sons to Western countries to avoid the draft. Well, evidently, you're not sending all of your sons and daughters there, shitbag. The former ambassador to Germany, Melnik, left his 20-year-old son in Berlin, where he is a student and is said to drive a Porsche Cayenne. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're right. You're right, you fucking piece of shit. We should send our sons and daughters to fight your feckless and pointless fucking war. All just to cover up a bunch of shit. That's the only reason we're there. Anyway, Fetterman Health, cover up. Chief of Staff, Instablocks reporter who asks how senator can sponsor bills while being held incommunicado for 2 weeks in a psych ward. That's a good question. Well, technically, yeah. He's wanting us to fight for our bio labs. Anyway. Yeah. So I guess you're not allowed to ask how a senator who's, supposedly in a psych ward because he can't take care of himself can sponsor a bill when he's not actually there. Huh. This is such a... Anyway. I'm sorry, but Senator Goiter needs to just... I would say that it would be horrible if he would pass away in the hospital, but where he came from. They would just vote him in anyway. You can vote in dead people. Lawsuit alleges New York teacher forces fifth grader to become transgender, causing suicidal thoughts. Oh, but doesn't she look like she has all the kids' best health and interest in heart? Anyway, a New York teacher forces prepubescent girl to become transgender without her parents' knowledge, causing the child to contemplate suicide. But I thought the reason that we have to allow them to become transgender is to cut down on suicide. But wait a minute, it doesn't actually cut down. And you don't think the teachers don't think the parents should know. A lawsuit filed against Brookhaven Comswog School District alleges teacher Deborah Rosenquist manipulated a 9-year-old female student at Terryville Road Elementary School into becoming transgender by calling her Leo and using male pronouns to address her during the 2021 and 2022 school year. What a piece of shit. This is why this shit right here. This is why my wife, who is a public school teacher, makes a comment on a daily basis that she only has 4 years left before she can retire. All she's got to do is make it 4 years, and then she's out. And that school system will lose probably one of the better teachers that they've had in a long time, and is still very young. She could teach for another 10 years. But instead of getting 14 years out of her, they're going to get 4. And then she's going to go do something else because she can't take it anymore. Anyway, isn't that great? I can't believe wow. Sick. Joe Biden laughs while talking about grieving mother who lost 2 sons to fentanyl poisoning. Well, it looks like Joe could be dying from radiation poisoning. I don't know. Joe Biden on Wednesday delivered remarks at the House Democrat Caucus Issues Conference. Democrats gathered at the Hyatt Regency, Baltimore, to hear Biden mumble through remarks. Joe Biden mumbled through. That's funny. Joe Biden briefly spoke about a mother who lost 2 sons to fentanyl poisoning. And instead of me continuing to read the article, let's just hear it from old Joe. Shall we? Wait a minute. Turn that on. And let's do this number right here. There we go. There we go.
If we had Chinese troops lining up along our southern border with weapons aimed at our people, with weapons of mass destruction aimed at our cities, you damn well know you would do something about it. We had a weather balloon from China going across our country. Nobody died, and everybody's freaking out about it. But 100,000 die every year, and nothing's being done. Not enough is being done. Numbers are going up, not down. And you talk about children being taken away from their parents. My children were taken away from me. 100,000 Americans every year are having their children, 200,000 because it's both parents, right? Are having their children taken away from them. This should not be politicized. It's not about race. Fentanyl doesn't care about race.
Ugh. Well, that was tough. But she's not wrong in what she's saying. And this is what the teetotaler said.
She was very specific recently, saying that a poor mother who lost 2 kids to fentanyl, that I killed her sons. Well, the interesting thing is that fentanyl they took came during the last administration.
When are they going to stop blaming the previous administration? Can anybody tell me? What point in time does it just get fucking old? I saw an article, and I didn't pull it up this time around, but I saw an article today about how the ladies of The View are blaming the hiding of the Wuhan leak on the previous administration. How the fuck? And don't get me wrong, I'm not an always Trumper, but at some point in time, you have to take responsibility for your own shit. I mean, take responsibility for the mess you fucking made and clean it up. How hard is that? And now, I don't know if you guys have heard that there's a new strain of fentanyl coming to the U.S. that's called Tranq. And I guess the whole point of this is Narcan doesn't have an effect on it. So if you OD on Tranq and, you know, an officer shows up and tries to push Narcan, it don't do a fucking thing. You still die. But I'm sure that's, I mean, shit, Trump is probably, he must be somewhere in a fucking bunker cooking this shit up and handing it out like chiclets or some fucking thing. I don't know. I don't know how they can get away, and they do. They get away with it. How they can get away with blaming everything on the previous administration this, the previous administration that. It makes no sense to me. But they do. They do. And, well, probably 40% of America. Because I think his pack is dwindling a little bit. I think about 40% of America is actually still buying this bullshit, which is scary. I'm still trying to figure out this audio problem. Because now I can see it on the equalizer and I don't like it. Hopefully that's a little better. I have no idea. Let me try to get myself a little louder. That didn't work. Okay. Damn it. I don't know what's going on with the audio lately. It's been all screwed up. But let's just kind of boost myself up here a little bit. See if that helps. And we'll do that. And we'll do this. And see if that helps at all. Probably won't, but hey, it's worth a shot. Right? I don't know if that's any better. Hard telling. But anyway, I digress. I don't know what the fuck to do with shitbags like him. And dwindling, you think? Yeah, no shit. Got kids? Texas state rep proposes 100% property tax credit for married, opposite-sex couples with 10 children. Who in their right? What? How? No, thanks. One was enough. I'm good. I don't. All
right.
Uh-oh.
You guys ready?
I got audio playing. Hold on. Sorry, somebody sent me a link and I was trying to check it. We'll go this way. Then you won't get the back feed. Anywho, So yeah, if you got 10 kids and you're married to an opposite sex, move to Texas, it sounds like. Evidently they have a shortage of kids. But I don't know. I don't know. An affront to real women everywhere. Here you go, ladies. No more Hershey's. Just saying. Calls to boycott Hershey's Mount after company features male transsexual in International Women's Day promo. I gotta make this larger on the screen so you can see what is the beauty of this guy. I keep trying to put stickers. Oh. Sorry. All right. Hey, yeah, that's the image of Hershey's chocolate company. I especially like the little Adolf Hitler ring right here that's stuffed in the nose. You know, there's a reason that we do that to cattle. It's to control them. Put a bull ring in. If you give it a twist, they have a tendency to do whatever the fuck you want them to do. I guess this person likes being controlled. And I use the term person loosely. But yeah, that's the beauty that is. Hershey's has brought back its She Bar as part of International Women's Day campaign to push more of its chocolate in Canada. Bienvenue, here we go. Although the company claims to want to shine a light on the women, and girls who inspire us every day. Among the 5 individuals enjoying the spotlight is a man masquerading as a female. I fucking hate our world. Stop. I want to get off. The inclusion of male transsexual in a purported celebration of women and womanhood has outraged many online, prompting calls for a boycott and claims that Hershey's is erasing women. No, Hershey's isn't. Yeah. They're just trying to stay trendy. It's not Hershey's that set the trend. I mean, not to stick up for Hershey's. I think they're a shit company anyway. But, yeah. The individual who calls himself Faye Johnston is a transsexual activist and executive director of Wisdom to Action. According to his website, Johnston is also a white settler from a middle-class family, as well as the first male transsexual to serve on the board of directors of the YWCA Canada. Johnston tweeted Wednesday, "The chocolate's out of the wrapper." Honored to be featured in this campaign by Hershey's Canada for International Women's Day alongside 4 brilliant sisters and change makers. What the fucking hell? Oh, we're so fucked. Johnston noted that Canada convenience stores would now be carrying the so-called special edition She chocolate bar with his this is so hard to read. The so-called special edition She chocolate bar with his face and the 4 featured women on them, adding, "We still have a long way to go." Yeah, like checking chopping your pecker off comes to mind. In the fight to end misogyny, patriarchy, the other fight. Now, look, check out all these keywords that are dropping right here. Misogyny, patriarchy, and gender-based violence. You mean like chopping your own dick off? That kind of violence? No? Oh, okay. I hope this campaign helps give more young women and girls role models. What the fuck? Hey ladies, if you want a role model, just look for a guy that's acting like a chick. That's and shows them how we can be how we can change the world together. What the fuck? That's a quote too. Hopefully they got it right. Let's see. The 4 women in the Hershey's campaign were Kalikia Masala, Rita Audi, and Naila Malou, and Autumn Peltier. Masala and Audi are gender equality activists. Oh, fucking good. Malou is a climate tech researcher, and Peltier is a native rights and water activist. By God, they hit the fucking gambit there, didn't they? They got a he, she. They got so they got a he, she. They got a gender equality activist, or 2 gender equality activists. Well, you doubled up on that one. You got a climate change fucktard, and you have a native rights and water activist. Huh. Knocked it out of the park there. This campaign was executed in partnership with the United Nations Foundation. Oh, who could have ever seen that coming? Girl Up, a leftist nonprofit that dabbles in climate alarmism and pro-abortion activism. Because those, in some sick, twisted way, those two actually go together, because they think that humans are the main causer of climate change. So if we just have less humans, we'll have better climate. Makes sense, right? I can't read this anymore. I can't. No. Just fucking no. Scientists seek to create biocomputers using lab-grown human pseudobrains. Oh, well, that sounds like it won't end horribly. A group of Maryland scientists revealed their intentions in a paper published Monday to learn or lean into the use of human pseudobrains instead of silicon chips. Well, that would, that's going to fix the chip problem right there. We just need to grow brains or harvest them, depending on however it works out for you, for sophisticated computing. Noting that the human brain continues to be the best machine in various ways, such as in image processing and in terms of energy efficiency. The paper suggests that simplified and miniaturized human pseudobrains, called brain organoids, none of this sounds creepy, could be used to great effect in biocomputing. The hope for results would be an efficient system that can tackle problems conventional digital computers are or will soon be unable to solve, particularly if the silicon-based computers... I'm going to get chewed out by Raid. Competitors max out their processing capability, limits, and energy demands. That's just creepy. So we're going to grow little mini human brains to make our computers now. Okay. All right. New York City to pay up to $6 million to George Floyd protesters allegedly boxed in and beaten by police. So, good for the goose, good for the gander. I mean, there's the January 6th people. I mean, they were boxed in the Capitol building, right? So, do they get $6 million? I'm just asking for a friend. New York City recently agreed to shell out up to $6 million to protesters who were allegedly boxed in and beaten by cops during a 2020 George Floyd protest in Mont Haven, according to a legal settlement, the New York City Times reports. If a federal judge signs off on the settlement, the more than 300 protesters will receive approximately $21,500 each. You know, 21 grand to take a good ass beating. I'd probably go for that. I mean, just saying. So if a federal judge signs off on it, they get $21,500 each, one of the highest amounts awarded per person in a class action case involving mass arrests. Following the George Floyd death in the summer of 2020, why are we still talking about this shit? I mean, I know why we're talking about it today, but I mean, come on, why are we still talking about this shit? In the summer of 2020, protesters and looters destroyed several businesses in Manhattan. Demonstrators shattered storefronts and robbed goods from Macy's, Chanel, Adidas, Nike, Dolce & Gabbana, and local drugstores. That sounds like the kind of people that we should pay off, right? I guess, is the plan. In early June, following several destructive and costly protests, former Mayor Bill de Blasio enacted an 8 p.m. curfew to deter looters. So they were breaking curfew, they were busting up shit and stealing shit, and now we're paying them $21,000 a year because they got their asses whooped and arrested? All right. Makes sense to me, doesn't it to you? Harvard professor of medicine hilariously trolls vaccine fanatics when natural immunity comes up during House roundtable on COVID policy. This was kind of funny. I'm just going to go down to, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to go down to his comment. Here we go. Miller Meeks, who's also a physician, interrupted Keldorf with a smiling, good-natured quip. It wasn't until I came to Congress that I found out infection-acquired immunity was a novel concept. Yeah, Keldorf replied before proceeding to raise the trolling ante considerably. I guess we knew about it since 430 BC, the Athenian plague, until 2020. And then we didn't know about it for like 3 years. And now we know about it again. Cool. Here you go in his words.
By forcing children to have a vaccine that they don't need because they've already had the disease, that undermines the trust in other vaccines, like the measles vaccines or the polio vaccine, and that's very, very serious. I think during the last several decades, we have the never vaccinate people or the anti-vaccine people have tried to undermine the trust in vaccine, but with very little success. But the vaccine fanatics who wants to vaccinate every person in this country, even though they are children who has very little risk for it, even though they have already had the COVID, that has undermined the trust in other vaccines enormously, creating enormous vaccine hesitancy.
So not allowing their provider or physician to determine the risk and the benefit.
Yeah, and also people themselves, because people know that about immunity. We learn that in school. People know that if you've had a disease. You had,
It wasn't until I came to Congress that I found out infection-acquired immunity was a novel concept.
yeah, I guess we knew about it since 430 BC of the Athenian plague until 2020, and then we didn't know about it for 3 years, and now we know about it again. So.
Yep, didn't know about it. And then we did, and now we don't, and now we do again. Stupid is as stupid does. Hey, this was a fun one. Air Force relieves 2 commanders and 4 leaders of the North Dakota nuclear bomber missile base. Want to know why? Well, let's find out. Right after this horrible ad. Skip.
Here's one of those affected Nebraska Congressman Don Bacon. Sir, good morning to you, and thank you for your time. Do you think a crime was committed here, or was the Air Force just simply duped? What do you think?
Well, the Air Force was duped. They thought we were requesting this information for our own careers, for resume building, and so forth. The Democrat organization, paid for by the Democratic campaign congressional committee, they were paid $110,000 to do this, but they used our Social Security numbers and other personal identification information to look like it was us making this request. So the Air Force was deceived. The real culprit here is the DCCC, who paid $110,000 to this due diligence firm who did identity theft to get this information. And they used this information wherever they thought they found an area they could exploit, like Jennifer Ruth Green, who had to relive her sexual assault a second time, basically doing victim shaming on her, and it hurt her in her campaign.
Sure. So you're saying there was involvement on behalf of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. They were in on this.
Yeah, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, we call them the DCCC, paid $110,000 to this organization to do this background research. Their job is to collect this research and give it back to the DCCC. And then they use this information, whatever way they could find effective, to hurt the Republican candidate. But you asked if this is illegal. It was identity theft at a minimum. And our lawyers say there is a crime committed.
Okay.
But we'll let the Department of Justice take this on.
A few specific questions here. Was this information available publicly?
No, it's not. This was 30 years of records in my case. Now, I really have nothing to hide. I made Brigadier General. I'm proud of my records, but in some situations, and not with other people, there were, sensitive information there. When you're a victim of a sexual assault and someone leaks that back out, that person has to relive it a second time. This information was not available to the public.
Okay, a couple things here. Jennifer Ruth Green, Dana mentioned we tried to get on her yesterday, had a little trouble with the satellite here. Here's a statement. There must be full transparency, the investigation and its findings. Those responsible for these illegal acts should face criminal charges and be held accountable for their actions. I don't know what they wanted in you. Maybe you do. You had a re-election that was pretty interesting to watch. Ultimately, will the Air Force be held accountable, sir?
Well, I think the Air Force has taken accountability. They came clean on their own. They volunteered what happened. They put fixes in place. The accountability needs to be with the DCCC and the operative who lied, saying they were us, the identity theft. And I hope the Department of Justice takes this on.
Sir, thank you for your time. Sure is intriguing, right? Don Bacon, the Republican of Nebraska. Thank you, sir.
Well, there you go. That's what that's all about. So evidently these, 6 rather high-ranking officials out of the nuclear bomber wing were the ones that helped release some of those documents. And now they got in trouble for it. These personnel actions were necessary to maintain a very high standard we demand on those units entrusted with support our national nuclear missiles. So to give you a little heads up, we've had plenty of problems out here at Malmstrom Air Force Base also. I can tell you this much. There's been 2 wing commanders that have been let go because, well, what's a nice way to put this? Our missile systems weren't ready. And they were told so. And then they were let go. So, yeah, I have military members in my family. I know military members well. I know there's a lot of good people in the military. But I can say this. We still may have the best military in the world, but it's considerably weaker over the past couple of years. Just saying. Here you go. Here's a feel-good story for you. Let's leave on a feel-good story note, right? Isn't that what we try to do? Let's see. Do I got one other one? Oh, yeah. We got one other one, too. $231 million Powerball winner sells 50,000 acres in South Dakota, my home state. Actually, let's see. Can I zoom that in for you guys? Yeah, we can. There we go. For a record price. Back in 2009, a South Dakota cowboy named Neil Wanless hit the Powerball jackpot and won $232 million. One of the things he decided to spend his money on was an almost 50,000 acre ranch not too far from Rapid City. Fast forward to the present, and he's sold the property. Now, think about this. He bought a 50,000 acre. He sold the property for $37 million. Not only over twice what he originally paid for it, but according to the ranch's listing agent, the most ever paid for a ranch in the state. Known as Bismarck Trail Ranch and located in Vail, South Dakota, the most expensive ranch in South Dakota history is one fit for a Powerball winner. And officials marketing materials for the ranch says its appeal goes far beyond its expansive natural beauty. I'll bet. So now you would think that this fella is selling this ranch and he's, looking to do a little less work, right? You don't know cowboys. Now that he sold the ranch, you might assume that Wanless is relocating to a property that requires a little less work. But in fact, he's reported to be moving to another cattle ranch in Canada, owned by his wife's family, and will as well as a winter home in Arizona. Back in 2020, he spoke with the Wall Street Journal about his love for the ranching lifestyle. I could have retired and done really nothing and sat on my butt and enjoyed it. But I love it. Ranching is a hard life. But if you love what you're doing, it's an easy life. There you go. Words to live by from a millionaire in South Dakota. All right. And finally, for all of you that have been noticing that you were seeing the Aurora Borealis, or the Northern Lights, as of, I believe it was last week, they were pretty bright here in South Dakota, or in, Montana. They were bright in South Dakota too, but here's some photos for you. This is from north of Shoto, which is right out on the Rocky Mountain front. Martin City, which you can see the Rockies in the background there. This is another one near Shoto. But there are some beautiful photos out there. I mean, just like that one. That was Rocky Boy's Indian Reservation, which is about 40 miles to the north of me. So yeah, I got to see him too. I didn't take any pictures, but I got to see him. This was up in Browning, which is north of Glacier. There's another Martin City. Now, these are really cool, and they're breathtaking when you see them in real life. I mean, they're awe-inspiring when you see them in real life. Look at that. That one's up in Browning, too. But then you realize why they happen. And they make you a little nervous. So the reason that the northern lights or the aurora borealis happen is because of high levels of if I remember correctly, it's an X-ray wave coming from the sun that hit our ionosphere and make pretty colors and make things dance. And, yeah. Kind of spooky when you start thinking about that. If we didn't have that lovely ionosphere, we'd all be cooked. But we do, so we get pretty lights. And we get to stare at them. Man, that's just amazing, isn't it? And if you've ever seen these things and when they dance across the sky, I mean, it's impressive. I love me my Montana. I like it here. Of course, I bet your Raid's probably seen them much brighter than I ever have, being up in Alaska. So, yeah, that's just almost eerie. But there you go. There's a look at the northern lights from an eye view of Montana. All right, folks. Well, that's it. That's all. There ain't no more. I'm going to get... Well, I doubt the CCP bought it. CCP wouldn't have bought it because it's too close to an Air Force base in Montana, or in Rapid City. But possibly Bill Gates. You never know. Could have been Ted Turner, too. He's still buying up ground. Or his organization is, anyway. But we're going to get the hell out of here. And I beg all of you this week, if you could do one thing for me just to put my mind at ease. Take a look around your house. See what you got in the lines of long-term food storage. Hopefully you have some already. I hope. But do the calculations and actually figure out what you have in time with that long-term food storage. Because I know everybody thinks that, I got plenty. Do the math and figure it out. See what you actually have for you and your family. If you could do that, that's all I'm asking you to do. It's just baby steps for right now. Right? But I think with the way every time I read the news and the more and more that we look at things, it's just, I can't wrap my head around a good ending. Let's put it that way. Well, no, I take that back. I think if the right people come out the other side, it's going to be a good ending. But it's going to be a lot of fucking work and a lot of long, drawn-out days. So, it's way easier to get ready now than it is when it happens. So do that. Look around the house, see what you got for long-term food storage, do the calculations, and see how many days you got on the food that's sitting in the house. And if you ain't got enough, well, figure out what you're going to do. I'm going to be doing the same. So I'm not just telling you to do it, I'm going to do it myself. Other than that, folks, I got nothing left. Actually, no, we do have something left. Let's take a look at the radar because there's some storms popping up down south, and if you folks are located down there, you need to be aware of the current situation. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth, actually, I guess north of Dallas, you need to be paying attention because you got some severe thunderstorms cropping up, and you got a high possibility of tornadoes today. And it's getting warm enough out now down there that we could start seeing some more and more stuff fire off. We'll be paying attention to it throughout the day, and we will be watching it closely over at the bar tonight. We have ourselves our Bardar, a little play on radar, but we'll be kind of keeping an eye on these storms as they move around. It's supposed to get more and more intense as the night goes on, so we'll try to keep an eye out for you guys. Yes, sir, 6 months to a year. There you go. All right. Good. But we're going to keep an eye out and try to keep you guys abreast of the situation tonight and go from there. But thanks, everybody, for hanging out today. We'll be back here around the 2 o'clock hour with the library with Montana. And today, I think we're going to start the EMP series on, I think it's called Going Dark. But it's another book series. And then we'll be picking up book 6 and 7 of The Ranch here soon. So as soon as we have those back, we'll start back on The Ranch. If you guys haven't had an opportunity to hang out and listen to the audiobooks, I highly recommend it. And like I said, we'll be back here little after 2 o'clock, probably around 2:15 till later on tonight. So hang out, watch for the card to pop back up, because for some reason we have to do it this way, where we shut down, come back, and we have a new show. I know it's a pain, but be watching for the card to come back up, and we'll see you in about 15 minutes. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out, and we will catch you at the library.